The Telegraph, and he joins us tonight from Washington. Tom, welcome.
Good to be with you.
Tom, you have British roots. Why do you think that hundreds are fleeing from the UK to fight for the Islamic State?
Well, I think there are a number of issues underway here. First off, there's an increasing appeal, although that will be hard for a lot of people to understand, but for young British Pakistani men, who are of course a very small minority of the British Pakistani community, who feel that they are differentiated from the rest of mainstream British society, and who see the Islamic State achieving what can be called, at least by extremist preachers, an ordained series of victories. There's an appeal there. Also the sense of violence, I've described it in a recent piece as like the Grand Theft Auto computer game in the flesh. There is a gang appeal that has a kind of religious fervor to it, which to some young men is deeply appealing.
Yeah, we had a mom on the other night who stated that there was a lack of integration among young Muslim men in Britain, and as a result some disenfranchisement. But I do believe that even though we hear that told to at least the American people, it's hard for Americans to understand that. Can you help explain?
Yeah, sure. No, it is a big issue. I think partly because of the British class culture, partly because of immigration to the United Kingdom after the Second World War period, and partly because a lot of immigrant communities in the United Kingdom, instead of, or in contrast to the United States, where there's quite a mixing of different ethnic populations, have in the UK lived together and have been somewhat isolated and judged with some prejudice actually by the British state. That does foster extremism. It's certainly the main cause here is the interpretation of Salafi extremism by extremist preachers. Clearly there is no excuse for this kind of activity, but there is a social problem that has to be addressed, and I think the British government is beginning to realise that it has to be addressed as well.
What do you make of the UK raising the threat level today?
What I think that is about is the branch chiefs of the various British intelligence services telling the Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre, which is the body that has decided to raise the alert level, that they simply do not have the confidence that they would wish to have, that when these individuals come back to the UK, they will be able to monitor them to the degree that they would wish to. So that it's a caseload overload, if you will, in a sense. There are a lot of people they're concerned about, but there is a limited amount of resources to be able to monitor these people. So by raising the alert level, they take functional steps to try and mitigate what could happen if people fall through the cracks.
Aren't some of those people already back?
Yeah, some people are already back, and they are being monitored. But again, there are a lot who aren't back, and so this is a step trying to prepare for that, where when those people do come back, there are greater protective measures on display in airports and train stations and public places, so that they can try, if the worst happens and someone does it, or a number of people do attempt to do something, there is a greater capability to address it.
How secure are British borders, given the ease with which Europeans move about?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big issue, really, and that's why we've heard a lot about European passport holders, because of the European Union, free movement. If you have people, whether they're British or French or from Germany, who can, or any EU country, who have the ability to move easily across borders, that creates a transmission danger of terrorism. And it's also why, incidentally, the United States is very concerned about European passport holders potentially coming back to their home countries and then taking a flight to the United States and being able to use, well, look, I have a British passport, I can't be that bad, and they get through immigration and then cause problems. So this globalization, the ease of travel, is at the heart of what the Islamic State threat is seen to be by intelligence services.
Tom Rogan, thanks for your insights. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The UN is